Hey everyone, it's Lord Macho here from lordsofgaming.net. I'm here with Dylan, talking about Elden, Path of the Forgotten. Now tell us a little bit about Elden, Dylan.
Yeah, so Elden is a medieval eldritch fantasy game. It's based on like environmental storytelling and reactive combat. So one of the things I like to say is it's kind of meant to be like a book in a language you don't understand, but every other page has a picture. So yeah, the whole story is told without any dialogue or words, and it's just all through imagery and experiencing the game.
Wonderful, wonderful. Tell us a little bit about the art style that's going into Elden, though, because it's a very unique visual style.
Yeah, cheers. So I actually started the game in university. So I was studying game development, and I spent a long time just trying to work out the art style. It was inspired by a few different things. There's a game called Crawl, which you may have heard of before, but that's by a company called Powerhoof. So it's a little bit inspired by that, a little inspired by things like Sword and Sorcery, but yeah, and then just all with my own twist on it.
So with this kind of game, what came first? Gameplay, story, or the art style you had in mind?
Gameplay, yeah. Well, art style, gameplay, then story. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, now we talk about gameplay. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on the screen here. You want to break down what players are looking at?
Yeah, so this is the start of the game. The game is actually kind of basically inspired by my early childhood. I moved out of home when I was like 15 years old, and I was living by myself in an apartment, so kind of just doing with like the tribulations of growing up and going to adulthood, passing all of those barriers. So yeah, at the moment, players just come out of the house and they've discovered that their mother is missing. She's disappeared into some strange portal, and you're out to try and save her. Yeah.
Perfect. I'm getting kind of like a super high fantasy Lord of the Rings vibe. Am I right on track with that, or what are you leaning more towards?
So I like to call it an eldritch fantasy. So it's pretty inspired by the works of like Lovecraft and the secondary Lovecraft stuff, so works inspired by Lovecraft. But yeah, it's definitely got a bit of that high fantasy because I'm just a sucker for that kind of stuff. So you got dragons and that kind of stuff, but yeah, it's more the eldritch fantasy, tentacles and the unknown, like fear of the unknown.
Perfect. Well, how many people are actually working on this game?
So it's mainly me. So
impressive.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. Initially, we had like 2 other people helping out on the project, and my publisher does supply me a programmer when I need a little bit of extra assistance. But yeah, besides that, I do most of the programming, all the art, and I have someone else dealing with the audio for me, because it's one thing to be able to do programming and art, but audio is a whole other thing.
Yeah, I'm sure, especially with all the effects that are going on and even music. I'm sure music plays a big role too when you're exploring.
It's got like a dynamic music system, so the music is intertwined with the actual gameplay.
Wow, okay, perfect.
Yeah, so the music changes depending on where you are and what you're doing.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for a breakdown of Elden, Path of the Forgotten. When can players expect to play it?
Expect to play it?
Yeah.
So relatively soon. We don't have a hard date, but you can expect it pretty soon.
Cool. And what platforms?
So basically everything. So like PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, Steam, and Utomic.
Perfect. We'll keep an eye out for that. That's right there, Elden, Path of the Forgotten. Thank you, Dylan, so much for your time.
Yeah.
Good luck in the rest of the development, all right? This is Lord Macho signing off on lordsofgaming.net. I'll catch you guys later.